Welcome to the Explainer. In most faiths, there's a pretty clear line between the divine and the human. But today, we're looking at a figure who, within Catholic theology, really seems to blur that line. Mary, the mother of Jesus.
We're going to dive into two of her most significant and, let's be honest, sometimes controversial titles, Co-Redemptrix and Mediatrix of all graces. These aren't just fancy names. No, they suggest that a human woman played a unique, active role in the grand divine plan for salvation. So, let's dig in.
All right, so to get our heads around this, let's start with an idea that might feel a bit more familiar, Mary's role as a spiritual mother.
Now, the core idea here isn't just about admiring her from a distance. The theology presents her as an active, powerful guide, almost like a spiritual coach who's personally invested in helping believers get closer to her son.
Okay, but to really understand these unique titles, we've got to go back, way back to the very beginning, to understand the theological problems she's believed to solve.
So the way the story is told, the sin of Adam and Eve created this fundamental break, this rupture in creation. But in response, God promised a remedy, a way to heal that break. And here's the beautiful structure of that remedy. It's all about symmetry. You have Christ, the second Adam, who comes to fix what the first Adam broke. But, and this is key, he doesn't do it alone. The theology pairs him with a second Eve, that's Mary, who actively cooperates in this whole new plan for salvation.
This idea of her as the second Eve isn't just a metaphor. It leads directly to her first major, powerful title, Co-Redemptrix. The really important thing to get here is that this title is all about her role while she was on Earth. It's not about what she does from heaven. It's about her very real, hands-on, willing participation in the work of salvation as it was happening.
The justification for this incredible role is built on three key pillars. First, the idea that she was preserved from original sin, making her a perfect vessel. Second, her totally free and decisive yes to God, an embrace of the entire difficult plan. And third, she actively, profoundly shared in Christ's ultimate sacrifice.
This simple phrase, her fiat, is really the theological linchpin for the whole thing. It's not seen as passive like, okay, I guess this will happen to me. No, it's interpreted as this full-throated, powerful yes to everything that was coming. An active embrace of all the joy and all the immense suffering her son's mission would demand.
And all of this comes to a head at the foot of the cross. This is where her cooperation hits its absolute peak. She unites her own unbearable suffering as a mother with the sacrifice of her son. That shared suffering is at the very heart of the title Co-Redemptrix. But, according to this theology, her work wasn't finished at the cross. Oh no. After her life on Earth, she takes on a new, ongoing role, and that brings us to her second major title.
So this title describes her ongoing job in heaven. Think of it like this. If the Co-Redemptrix role was about helping to earn the treasure of redemption, then the Mediatrix role is about being the one who gets to distribute that treasure to all of humanity. The belief is that she has become the designated channel for every single grace that flows from Christ's sacrifice. So she isn't the source of the treasure, but she is the one who has been entrusted to hand it all out. This quote from the Bible is seen as the exact moment this spiritual motherhood was formally given to every person. When Jesus, on the cross, says this to his disciple, it's interpreted as him giving his mother to all of us, and giving all of us to his mother.
And this role as Mediatrix places her above all other saints and angels. She's seen as their queen, someone who combines the supreme authority and power with the deep, personal affection of a mother.
So, let's just boil it down. Co-Redemptrix is what she did on Earth, actively taking part in the work and suffering of redemption. Mediatrix is what she does from heaven, actively distributing the fruits, the graces of that redemption to everyone.
Okay, so that's a lot of theology, but what does it all mean for an individual person? How does this translate into actual practice in someone's spiritual life?
Well, this theology isn't just an abstract idea. It points to two very direct spiritual paths. The first is to try and imitate her virtues, her humility, her faith. And the second is to actually build a personal relationship with her through devotion and prayer to strengthen that spiritual bond.
And a really concrete example of this is the Rosary.
It's a form of prayer that is specifically designed for you to meditate on the biggest moments in Christ's life, but from the unique perspective of his mother.
Now, this is a pretty interesting move. Theologians take this passage from the Old Testament book of Proverbs and apply it directly to Mary. The message becomes really clear. Connecting with Mary isn't some kind of detour. It's presented as the most direct highway you can take to her Son and to salvation itself.
So we're left with this really powerful idea. When a faith elevates a human being to a role so intimately connected to the divine, what does that say about our own deep-seated need for a relatable guide? Maybe the search for God is also always a search for a mother. It's definitely something to think about.